So are you ready?
Yes, sir, we are ready.
All right. Then at this time, I will call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, at 7 p.m. Roll call, please. Clerk Moscow.
Trustee Kadney?
Here.
Trustee Crowley?
Here.
Trustee Gillis?
Here.
Trustee Ivan?
Here.
Trustee Killily?
Here.
Trustee Kreis?
Here.
Mayor Luro?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I declare that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent due to the coronavirus pandemic.
And you have a quorum verified by audio or visual confirmation.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Clerk PULASKI, was there any comment from the public?
No, there was none.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to trustee business, trustee Kreis.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item that I have on the agenda is, and I provided everyone with a copy, was a discussion of the draft memorandum of understanding with the Center for Neighborhood Technology for the Leap High project. So I don't know if everybody's had an opportunity to look at it, if there are any questions.
Anyone?
I have several. Does anybody else want to go first?
You're up.
Okay. Well, it says here, you were asked to participate in the National Science Foundation program, blah, blah, in 2017. Is that the same meeting that you and Helen and Chris went to with the engineers from Australia?
No.
Okay, and I was going through meeting minutes to see when this was brought up in 2017, and I don't remember seeing this.
Well, let me backtrack a little. So,
Hold on. Unless it's part of the same Northwestern University program that I had attended with a bunch of Midlothian people. I'm not exactly sure, but let me just go through and ask you a bunch of my questions so that you can roll all into it, okay? My other concern is on the goals. It says to be enumerated with discussions with all parties. I feel that this section needs to be filled out before it's executed, the document's executed. Also, let's see, it says at the bottom, the municipality's involvement will take place from October of 2020 to September of, the date didn't print out on my paper. I don't know what happened to that September date. So I'm concerned that, have you been having conversations with these people since last October? And this is the first we've heard of it?
so let me give you a little bit of background here.
Okay, but one last thing.
Okay.
The biggest concern here is under the Northwestern University roles and responsibilities. It states here that they will draft an uncertified engineering design. The big concern I have is that it doesn't seem, to me, based on all of the grants the village has gotten and based on all the engineering that had to be done to get those grants, it doesn't seem feasible that anyone would give the village a grant based on an uncertified engineering design.
Okay, so this is a draft. It's also being reviewed by Northwestern. To give you a little bit of perspective going back, I brought this up in the beginning of February of 2020, prior to COVID, that this was proceeding. CNT had reached out to us in 2017. And I brought it up when they decided they wanted to move forward in the beginning of 2020. I brought it up, and I think it was the first meeting in February. And they were going to schedule a meeting, a site tour, which they had planned for May. We had a date in May when they were going to come out, and that got canceled due to COVID. So this project is backed up because of COVID. And again, it's based on the Rain Ready plan. They came out, it was, Don helped me with this, in October. It was a day, it was pouring rain. And it was, I was asked to be there, Don and Superintendent Sperry. And Drew Williams-Clark from CNT and Rebecca Raines came out with Dr. Kimberly Gray, who is the chair of Civil and Environmental Engineering from Northwestern, to do kind of a brief tour. And it was on 151st Street, and then we went west over near Belly Button Hill, so that Dr. Gray could get kind of the lay of the land, and she had somebody else with her from Northwestern. Don, did I miss anything?
I think you got it.
Okay, so that was in October. And again, COVID has backed up, slowed everything, and I just got this from Rebecca.
Well, my concern also is that if you recall when we discovered back in October of, it would have been October of 2019, that you were resuming the Rain Ready meetings and had not notified anyone, we had asked, yes, you had scheduled a Rain Ready meeting and had not notified the board, because I had inquired with you at a meeting about it, and you had advised us at the meeting that you invited everyone that was on the Rain Ready committee pursuant to the mayor's assignment in that May. And I had asked you to share with us the meeting minutes and also the schedule for the next meeting, which was held in, I believe it was January of 2020. And after the January meeting, just before or after the January 2020 meeting, you sent me an email and provided me with the meeting minutes from the October of 2019 meeting and with the agenda for the 2020 meeting. And the agenda for the the January of 2020 meeting referenced this Leap High matter, but no one ever shared with us the meeting minutes from that meeting.
And I can tell you, Anna Wolf is taking the meeting minutes from CNT. We never met again. But
Karen, if you guys have a meeting in January, it doesn't make sense to me that you would continue to have conversations with them, and they scheduled to come out to our village in May to do a tour, and she hasn't provided you with meeting minutes from a meeting in January. So for a whole year, you don't have them?
I can ask Anna again. You know what? I cannot go demanding meeting minutes from an agency that is doing pro bono work. Now, I will ask her for the meeting minutes. We had a meeting, and Anna did not come out for this tour. She did not, and I will ask her for the meeting minutes.
I understand. It doesn't matter if Anna came out for the tour or not, Karen. My point is, we're all grateful for CNT. They've done a lot of work for the village, and they've done a lot of work pro bono. But you know what? That's kind of their job. They're a nonprofit water agency, and their job is to reach out to communities to work with them on water projects and on infrastructure and on green infrastructure projects. So I get it that they're doing the work pro bono, but it doesn't make sense to me that any agency, whether it's pro bono or not, would conduct a meeting with the municipality and then not provide meeting minutes, especially when on the agenda for that meeting, a discussion was held with regard to this Leap High project, and now we're getting this document, this memo of understanding from them that they want the village to engage in, and the whole board, except for you, doesn't know anything about it.
I brought it up. I brought this up to the board in February.
Which was a year ago.
I know, Kathy, because of COVID, things have changed. And you know what? I am grateful that CNT wants to stop. It wants to continue working with Midlothian, but you know what? They don't have to. And I'm not going to call Anna up and demand minutes. I will send her an email and ask her for the minutes.
I never said anybody had to call Anna. I never suggested you had to call Anna and demand minutes. But if she was taking minutes, I'm sure the minutes have to be available. And I realize you brought this up last February, Karen, but that was a year ago. And you even said that CNT had planned a meeting with the village in May. None of us did that.
No, it was.
I mean, a tour, not a meeting.
It was a tour, and it was canceled.
I understand that. My point is, none of us, no one else on the board knew about this tour. We didn't know about it.
Okay, you know what? And does everybody have to know every intricate thing? I don't know every detail that's going on in building. I don't know every detail that's going on in police. I don't need to know. There was a tour. They asked for specific people to be there.
When we're having tours of our village with outsiders, especially when it comes to Rain Ready, I have asked you several times if you would please keep me apprised and please keep me in the loop.
All right, I'll keep you in the loop. I'm sorry you were not in the loop on this.
Well, it was canceled, so it doesn't matter.
No, we had one in October, and Superintendent Sperry was there, and so was Don.
October of what? Just October of 2020?
2020.
You had what, a tour?
There was a tour.
And did anybody share any information from that tour or any
As a
results?
as a result of that tour, this MOU has been generated.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, yeah, I guess I would like to have some further information from CNT or from Northwestern as to exactly what it is they're going to provide, because we have a stormwater management capital plan that already outlines green infrastructure.
They're aware of it.
Pardon me?
They're aware of it.
So I'm just wondering how this CNT, how this program is going to fold in with that. This seems to be a little redundant.
I don't believe it's redundant, and Don, I'm going to ask you to jump in. I think this is going to actually refine some of the findings in the stormwater management capital plan, and they're going to look for locations where we can get the most benefit from sinking the water through green infrastructure. Don, do you have any?
Yeah, that's exactly. The Northwestern professor told us, not in great detail at all, because that's her job, but she told us that certain areas of a landscape are better to put green infrastructure at. There's just the natural areas where green infrastructure works better than other areas. And she wanted to map out those areas for us so that we would know in the future, if we wanted green infrastructure, that these areas would be more effective to put green infrastructure at than other areas in town. And she's going to give us, I guess, an uncertified map, and we're not going to be able to use that for a grant. But again, it's like a stormwater green infrastructure guide that would give us a guide where, if we are going to do a project like maybe Belly Button Hill or some such thing, that, you know, if there's better areas to put green infrastructure in, this map, this drawing is going to give us a better idea where green infrastructure will work better.
So is her team planning on using the stormwater management capital plan and looking at all of those green infrastructure ideas, or are they going to go beyond the stormwater management capital plan?
I don't know. They know about the stormwater management capital plan. We've talked about it. So I don't know. And again, Northwestern has this document. It may come back with revisions from them as well. So this is just the first blush.
Okay, well, can you take these questions back to both CNT and Northwestern and ask them?
I will. Well, I have to go through CNT. So I will provide these questions to CNT.
Okay, and after the October of 2020 tour that was held, was there any meeting notes? Was there any correspondence? Was there any nothing from them about what they found on our tour?
No, nothing. This is what I got. What you have.
Okay, well, I certainly, for one, would like to see the goals enumerated beforehand, before we sign this document, because to me, the goals, if we're going to enter into any kind of a program with these people, we need to know what the goals are.
I will ask them. I will ask them to be more specific.
Any other questions?
I have to agree with the trustee, Kathy, on the stuff that she's looking for from this document.
Trustee Ivan is concurring with Trustee Caveney about the items she is requesting prior to moving forward with this document. That's
And Trustee Price and Trustee Killelea, have you guys, are you familiar at all with this Green Print Partners?
Nope.
No.
Not familiar with any work that they've done out on the south side at all?
No.
And you have no idea how they were chosen? Were they chosen by CNT or by Northwestern, do you know?
I actually think it was a collaboration, but I can ask them.
Okay, yeah, if you can find out.
All right,
I did look up their website. They are, Greenprint Partners is actually a DBA for a company called Fresh Coast Capital.
any other questions?
I was just going to say that I think we know from the prior work that CNT has done that I don't think they would select a partner that was not responsible or reliable, but I will certainly ask the question.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
And if Northwestern could just provide us with a little bit more information as to what kind of plan they're actually going to give us. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a little concerned that they would be providing us with an uncertified engineer design.
Okay, I will ask the question. I'll ask him if there's any possibility that we could get a certified engineer design. That's a possibility.
Anything else, Trustee Kreis?
Yes, yesterday I participated in South Suburban Mayors and Managers Transportation Committee program, and Christy DeLaurentis brought up about the federal government is looking at doing a capital bill. Now again, we're hearing things out of Washington, they change every day. But she did say they're going to be looking for bondable projects, so keep that in mind. And it's going to be items other than transportation, but they're looking for a robust bill. And the only other item I have, Trustee Crowley knows I'm having technical issues, lots of them. And when I called Village Hall at 7 a.m. this morning to try to access my voicemail, we have a message that comes up that says Village Hall is going to open on November 30th. If you called right now, you would get that message. So I think
Which it did.
I think we need to update the message. And happy holidays.
I think that was probably like an extended greeting that only plays after hours, but I'll have them check on it.
Okay. Yeah.
I called today and it was fine. I called earlier today, so I bet it's like some saved recording but I'll have them check on it.
And Trustee Crowley, I may need further assistance from you, okay? And I believe that's all I have this evening.
All right, thank you. We still have that one other issue to clear up, Trustee Kreis. You didn't respond to my inquiry about the village check that you had at your home last week and showed us on camera. I have to know, how, when, and where did you receive that check?
I walked into Village Hall one day last week, picked up an envelope, brought it home, and I don't think I'm not a thief. In my entire tenure on this village board, I have done everything to seek additional funding. I think the email that you sent was very disrespectful, and if it wasn't for me, the village would not have a check for $11,946. So there was nothing there that I was doing that was criminal. I've been doing most of my work from my kitchen table.
So, when any village monies that are received, especially at Village Hall, should stay at Village Hall and given to the treasurer immediately for processing and deposit. You could certainly take a picture of it and take it home and show us on camera, but at no point whatsoever should a village employee or a village elected official take money from the Village Hall and bring it to their homes. So many things could have happened during that transport, and you're withholding the check at your home for days. The check needs to be with the treasurer, and this is our job as elected officials to, I've never called you a thief, and I thank the land bank for everything they do, but village money needs to stay at Village Hall. So just wanted to clear that up. But thank you for letting us know that you took money home from the Village Hall. All right, Trustee Ivan?
Thank you, Mayor. Just 3 little quick things. The treasurer is working on the budget worksheets, and she was sending them out to the department on Monday. And then February 8th, we'll have a new budget schedule that'll be coming out as well. The monthly reports through December were emailed to the Finance Committee today, as well as the water receivable report. So we'll have that available for our next Finance Committee meeting. We'll also be sending out the monthly stats from the front office through January. That's also available. And that's it for me.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Gillis?
I do not have anything for the fire department. The only thing I have for the Historical Society is I'm not 100% sure if the heat has been repaired yet, but as a board, do we have any concession of opening up the Historical Society soon, even on a limited basis? We really don't get a lot of people in there when it's open, only a couple at a time, usually on a Saturday, so I don't think we have a problem with having a high limit capacity on the Saturdays, but I think that once the heat's working, that maybe we could possibly open it up again on a limited basis, maybe 2 or 3 people at a time.
We are moved into Tier 1, which allows for gatherings of up to 50 people. I'm not saying you should have 50 people there or risk any of the volunteers if they don't want to be there, but it is okay to open up, yes.
And like I stated last week, we do have a number of new people that would like to volunteer, so that is going to help us tremendously after possibly losing 1 or 2. So that's going to make a positive impact on, getting some of the stuff done. They've been doing a lot of scanning of the old news records, so hopefully they can jump back up on that project. And we do have some antiquated equipment in there that we need to get out. So, Don, if you could let Joe know that next time we do have any electronic dumpster that we could possibly get rid of some of the stuff. We have quite a bit of old copy machines and old old computers too. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Jerry, if I could just interject, Keep Midlothian Beautiful is hopefully going to have another recycle event, which would include electronic recycling in the spring. So that might be an opportunity to get those items removed at no cost to the village.
Yeah, we're going to need some help getting pieces out of there. There's that old copy machine that's probably 30 some odd years old that hasn't worked for years.
Jerry, maybe we could just offer it for anybody who wants it, give it away free. If we're throwing
I don't think nobody would want that thing. It's, I mean, I don't even know if it works. It hasn't worked for the last 10 years that I know of.
Okay.
Just sitting there taking up space.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Keavy?
Thank you, Mayor. Everybody should have on their agenda copies of documents for this. Okay. There's a plat of survey that's a draft for the village's review, and it shows the alley that is going to be vacated. The pins, lots 14, 15, 25, 24 are all owned by the same entity and owned by the same owner that owns most of the lots that face 147th Street. It would be lots 16, 17 through 23, with the exception of the newspaper. The newspaper, the Messenger, I'm not sure which lots are theirs, if their building is on 1 or 2 lots, but they're pretty much smack right in the middle of that block. They're going to retain their portion of the alley behind their building. And then the rest of the alley will go to the owner of all the other pins. So does anybody have any questions or issues with regards to this?
I do not.
Okay, any trustees have any questions or issues with regards to it?
No.
No? Okay. All righty then. I will, pardon?
Even alleys need vacations.
Yep, even alleys need vacations. All right, I will let Superintendent Weiner know. board has no issues, he will contact the property owner, and then we will move forward to do what we need to do to get this on the agenda for board approval. I will also let the village attorney know so that he can draft the proper ordinance documents.
Got it. Got it.
What was that?
Got it.
Oh, is he, Nick, there? Okay, thank you. And that's all I have, except for closed session.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Coley.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, now I think it's time for me to ask for approval to replace a discharge meter at the pump house in the amount of $18,367.
I'll second.
Trustee Crowley seconds. Is there any other discussion? Roll call, please. Clerk Musil.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then I would like to ask for approval to replace the rooftop HVAC unit at the Historical Society in the amount of $6,140.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please. Clerk Musil.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I'd like to give the board just a quick update on the South Suburban Land Bank. As we know, they lost their executive director, Russ Bryden, some months ago as resignation. And frankly, the land bank needs a little bit of reset because their finances are not the greatest. They have a problem getting properties. They're very effective at getting abandoned properties and properties that have been donated and putting them back on the tax rolls. They do a great job with that, especially ones that have buildings. The ones that are vacant lots are not so good, but they do need a reset. They do have approximately 20 members, and about 8 of the members are really involved in the abandonment donation process and giving it to the land bank so they can make some money. So the land bank is going to evaluate what's going on and do some more planning to see what they can do to make a better process and bring in more money for the land bank. And also the land bank's a key part of the South Suburban New Development Corporation that is coming online. Some members of the land bank, they have pitched in to work hard to try to figure out the finances of the land bank and also start some planning processes. Mark Miller, the executive director, Hildy Klingma, from Park Forest, Laverne, she's the economic development director from Matson, and especially Christy De Laurentiis, the executive director of South Suburban Mayors and Managers. She is a very busy person, but she pretty much dropped everything to help figure out the finances of the land bank and also to start the planning processes of the land bank. And she's been super helpful with this, and she's just taken a lot of her time to do this. So we thank all of them. But I'd like to see if Midlothian could pay special attention that if there was any abandoned commercial properties or homes that we would donate, that we would start the abandonment process or get a donation to the land bank. They certainly could use the properties for more revenue. They're a great organization, and we definitely want to support them. And that's all I have for anything now.
Thank you.
Don, can I ask a question? Is it the municipality's responsibility to bring properties to the land bank? I thought that they also took advantage of looking up county tax records to see if there were homes that were, or properties rather, that were abandoned. Because if I'm not mistaken, the rule of thumb is they have to be vacant and for 2 years and at least 2 years behind on property tax payments.
They can buy those properties over the counter, but the over the counter process is delayed now. They haven't done one, and I don't know when exactly they're going to do it. It's really we have to pay attention. The individual communities have to pay attention to their own properties in their community, and then encourage the owners to either donate them or to work on the abandonment process with our attorneys to get those properties to the land bank.
And if I could just jump in, we had a really long meeting last week with the land bank, and they don't have the staff. It's basically, there's been no executive director now, Don, for how long? Months, right?
Since October of 2020.
So Mark
Wait,
Miller,
since when of 2020?
October.
Okay.
so they haven't had an executive director. And Mark Miller from Blue Island, who's doing, he wears many hats in Blue Island, is the chair of the South Suburban Land Bank. So he's doing all kinds of work. They have Stalin is one full-time staff person, and they have a half-time, Rachel's their half-time staff person. And everybody has jumped in to help, everybody has helping, trying to hold the land bank together, but they didn't have the staff when Russ was there to look up, to find out if there were delinquent properties in municipalities. It's really up to the municipality to try to identify a vacant property with 2 years of back taxes or outstanding water bills.
Okay. Do we have any properties with the land bank right now that they're trying to sell?
No.
Okay.
And we've actually been with the abandonment process, one of their success stories. They always talk about what Midlothian has done.
And Don, you had mentioned they could buy properties over the counter. What does that mean? Every property that I'm aware of that they dealt with in Midlothian had to go through the whole process and go to court, and it took 2 years and blah, blah, blah. How can they buy properties over the counter?
Some of the properties we had, the deeds were donated in lieu of deed. Is that right? And they didn't go through the process. Most of them.
Okay, so that's
a lot of them happened. And the abandonment process doesn't take that long. Although now it's taken longer because everything with COVID everything's taken longer with the county. But the attorneys for the land bank are really good at doing this. They expedite these things and get them on the land bank rolls as quick as possible. And we have excellent real estate people too that really are good at moving these properties. But the staff's stretched to the limit, and we need to get more revenue. We need to hire an executive director, and we need to plan and see how we can do things better.
Okay.
Then how would the village go about finding properties that we could potentially give to the land bank for acquisition?
Well, the same thing if, 2 years back taxes or 2 years delinquent water bills.
And I guess, Kathy, so the building department, don't they keep they used to have, I believe, an Excel spreadsheet of, if a property is vacant, it's supposed to be registered, correct?
That is correct. So I can ask Superintendent Weinert to provide us with the the most recent updated pro champs list to see who's.
Yeah, and if I got it, I could start looking up I could look up to see, I would look up to see if there are 2 years of vacant taxes. I would suspect that there's You know, there might be a handful. Some of the municipalities have a ton of homes that qualify for abandonment. I suspect that Midlothian does not have those types of situations.
Well, not on the residential ones, because they would
Not on
have to
the
be paid,
residential.
they'd have to be paid in full if they had mortgages on them, they wouldn't
Right.
qualify. Okay, I will ask Superintendent Weinert if he would provide us with the list.
Thank you, Kathy. And that's all, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Crowley.
Just a couple things tonight, sir. We have moved forward. Maggie should be receiving the agreement for our 5 new Zoom licenses for a total of 6. I should have that in place before the next meeting, so all of the departments will have a Zoom license that I sent out an email a few weeks ago to the trustees that their departments will work with trustees on setting up Zoom meetings or things like that we need. So we'll have 6 in total. If we pay for it a year at a time, we do get a 2-month discount, and it is $15 per license. So we have one that the treasurer's office has used this year for our finance committee meetings. So she did pay hers. They did pay that one through July. So we will be prorated through July, and then in July we can make a decision as if we need to renew it for another year. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be getting that information to the department heads in the next few days once Maggie's able to pay for it. Get it onto the reoccurring bill for the meeting, so everybody will have that. Maria, you guys will have your own. So, and Karen, you will be partnering with the clerk's office.
That's what you said. Thank you.
Other than that, we've been moving forward on a lot of IT issues with the departments. Everybody's been taking on new projects and trying to increase the technology that the village uses to assist the residents and allow residents to do business online if they want to. So every month we're trying to add a new feature for every department. So I'm going to start keeping a list, and I'll be mentioning those by department as we complete them. So as of now, every department has a department email. Every department is looking at their forms to update on the website, how we can make that more usable. We've started using fillable forms for things. So we're moving forward, trying to do it one step at a time. Otherwise, it gets a little much, I think, for everybody. So kudos to all the department heads. We do have a reoccurring problem in the fire department with our IT, with Firehouse. And it's been something that has gone, on again and off again for many years, as I understand it. Firehouse is and I know, Jerry, you could probably shed a little bit more light on this, but Firehouse is a very delicate database that requires specific updates and things like that. And since we had our new server, we seem to be maybe about a month after the new server got installed, they started having problems with communication with Firehouse. So Proven's been working on that recently with the fire department. I talked to one of their head engineers a couple times this week, and it's looking like it might be more of a wiring problem than a technology problem, I guess you would say. So they're going to be looking into that. I might need to bring some alternate options to the board for redoing some of the wiring. So we'll see how that goes. Last week and the week before, I talked about an email that I had sent to the new supervisor of Bremen Township regarding getting a group of elected officials from the different municipalities in a meeting to try to build services for our residents, especially our seniors, people with disabilities. I did hear back from her, and I'm hoping that we will have a phone conference tomorrow. I will keep everybody advised, but if it goes as we've kind of discussed, we will have a meeting with a number of elected officials, the mayor and myself and Trustee Caveney, and officials from other areas to come together and kind of brainstorm what sort of programs we need. So hopefully the township can apply for some of these bigger grants and kind of manage them. If anybody has any ideas or questions or suggestions, please send me an email. We'll make sure we bring all that information up when we meet. And I feel like I'm missing something. The next public safety newsletter is being published now, so that should be out in the next few weeks. So everybody stay tuned for that. We do have a sign-up email, or you can just follow it on Facebook. And last but not least, I would really like to thank, and I'm sure everybody feels the same way, Public Works again, Don. If you could send our thanks. They did a fantastic job in the snow. Our streets were better than the county and state streets early in the morning hours. So they're fantastic, and they really did a great job, and we really appreciate that. Other than that, I have nothing.
Okay, I will relay that, but I do have a question for you, trustee, since you're in the know more. It's going to be cold this weekend and first part of next week. Do we have any warming shelters around?
The county will put out their warming shelters that are going to be up, and then usually the police department and the fire department share them. I'll make sure they do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and I concur. Fantastic job on the snow. It was a lot. I was in communication with Superintendent Sperry through it. Even he was out plowing snow as it was needed. So thank you very much. All right, thank you, ma'am. Attorney Valdez.
Hello, the Wi-Fi is out here, so bear with me. I'm going over the sign ordinance, the bill of sign ordinance on my phone, so I'll be squinting a lot. It has come to the board's attention and brought to my attention several times over the last 12 months that the village sign ordinance may be lacking in some areas in which the Board of Trustees have some concerns about, specifically temporary signs, the wacky wavable guy type of signs, the butterfly signs, and the A-frame signs. In addition to that, there have been some questions with regard to the limit of political signs and the timing of that. Unfortunately for the village, our sign ordinance was written in 2010. Subsequent to that, in 2015, a United States Supreme Court case came down which essentially invalidated probably half, if not more, of all the municipal sign ordinances in the United States. Specifically, we cannot regulate signs based upon their content. The reason that I wanted to submit our ordinance to the board for review, and I think it was about a week and a half ago, I sent you my legal opinion with regard to what the do's and don'ts are in drafting a sign ordinance so that the board would be aware. But ultimately, the Board of Trustees sets the standards for what kind of sign activity should be allowable or regulated. It just has to be done so in compliance with the Supreme Court cases. Briefly, our sign ordinance from 2010 does liberally and repeatedly regulate signs based upon their content, whether it be business or political. So all of that has to be removed. In the email that you have before you on the board docs, you will see the highlighted, or excuse me, bolded text in our ordinance. It is my opinion that the bolded items are either outright unenforceable and unconstitutional, or they are questionable. The rest of the sign ordinance may remain, specifically any regulations with regard to materials, window coverage, location on public property, and size. Illumination may be regulated. So I wanted to bring that to the board and offer to have any of your concerns with regard to specific signs and the manner in which they are displayed. If you want to send that to me, I will try and incorporate those concerns in a way in which thousands of municipal lawyers across the country are trying to do to anticipate what would be a lawful, enforceable sign ordinance in the wake of the Reed case at the Supreme Court level. Any questions that you have? Otherwise, that's it. Like I said, you can send me what your concerns are. I know there was some talk about temporary signs and A-frame signs. I can take a look at that and we can redo our ordinance so that we can enforce both the concerns of the board as well as protect the rights of businesses and individuals with regard to political signs or business signs.
Nick?
Yes.
Did you say that it was the bolded items that need to come out of the ordinance?
Yes, most of the bolded items will have to be stricken or reworded so that they don't involve
Great.
content.
We can't hear you.
Okay, most of the bolded signs will have to be stricken or bolded lettering will have to be stricken or reworded so that it doesn't regulate speech of
Okay.
a particular type, content.
Okay. Could you share a copy of this with Superintendent Weiner?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I thought I did, then maybe I didn't. Okay, so that's all that I have. Feel free to send me what your concerns are and what you want to see addressed in our ordinance.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, under my business, let's start with the one item that I put on the agenda. It's that time of year. It is the time to renew our dues with the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association. This year came in at $11,261. In light, let me step back. I met with Treasurer Britton a couple weeks ago. Finances aren't great and expected to be worse as we go into our next fiscal year. So I asked her to please get a hold of them and ask for some sort of negotiation. While they wouldn't lower our dues amount, they did agree to let us split it up into 2 payments and defer the first payment until April. So again, it's a lot of money. We talk about this every year. I bring it to the board every year because it is a lot of money. I believe we all want to continue to support the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association. So anyone have a problem with us continuing with the new negotiation that Treasurer Britton worked out?
I don't. Can I just confirm, does this membership dues include use of their,
Yes.
what we use to look up properties?
GIS.
The flood viewer?
GIS.
GIS, yes, GIS.
I
It doesn't
thought
include
the
GIS?
I thought the GIS was a separate bill.
Well,
No, I think the GIS is a separate bill.
It is a separate bill, but I do think their services are invaluable, South Suburban Mayors and Managers.
okay. So I'll put it on the consent agenda for approval next week. Speaking of my meeting with Treasurer Britton about our finances, at our department head meeting, I did ask every department head to gave them the same information and asked them to look over their departments to find ways, I want it in the front of their minds to watch overtime and any unnecessary spending. It's going to be tough for many departments because overtime is part of those departments with the fire and police and public works, especially with the snow. Was informed by Chief Delaney that a lot of the overtime, most of the overtime incurred by our police department is being reimbursed, either through state grants or the federal government with our tactical work and things like that. So that was good news to hear. So what's next? The selection committee for our engineering firm for the Jolly Homes Flood Engineering will be meeting on Friday to interview the 3 candidates that we selected, and we hope to make a selection very shortly after that, and we can move on with the Jolly Homes flood mitigation project. Trustee Kreis, you brought up the federal capital bill. I was asked to sign on as a supporter of that bill, and I certainly did for the Village of Midlothian. Lastly, I wanted to thank everyone that joined our snowman contest over the last couple of days. We had 34 entries, phenomenal entries. Apparently it was a good man making snow. So, and the entries were just phenomenal, and it was so fun to go through them, and with the other judge, it was very tough to pick out of all the contestants, and but we did make a selection, and I will be announcing those soon.
Mayor, would you be able to post all the pictures of all 30 on the village website?
You know it.
Could we create a folder?
You know it.
I mean, not a folder, you know what I mean?
More on it, Kath.
On the village Facebook page or the village website?
Well, it would be cool to see them on the Facebook page, but under the photo albums on the village website, if we could do a photo album for that, that'd be cool.
I'm overwhelmed at the creativity of our residents. It was fun, and thank you. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Sandy Cortez helped me out with the selection, and she had a lot of fun as well, and it was fun working with her. So, thank you, Sandy.
I could have thought of no better person than to help you judge those snowmen.
Yeah. All right, so that's all I have tonight. Clerk Laskell.
I just have one thing the board will notice on next week's agenda. It's in the draft already. There will be a resolution on the consent agenda for the Independence Day Parade on June 26th. And I'm asking that we approve that next week so I can submit our applications for the permits from the county and IDOT. That's all that I have tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Now, I haven't added something to the end of a meeting in a long time. So,
I call
what?
nothing.
Going, if I may, just for a second, going back to the alley vacation, if you recall, this item had been on the agenda last year, sometime, last calendar year, I think sometime in September, and the property owners weren't quite ready to move forward yet. They didn't have their, survey done. And if you recall at that time, the village was going to charge them $5,000 for the vacation to cover our fees. So I just wanted to bring that up to make sure it was on the record that I believe that $5,000 fee should stand, seeing as how when we did the alley vacation for the 2 residential properties, the village was going to charge those 2 residents the $5,000 to share for that alley vacation. So I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware that the fee still stands at $5,000.
Correct.
And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Then at this time, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in closed session.